What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
What kind of ignorant shit is that?
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
You idiot, you fool!
Hey, dummy!
This is the Ignorance is Blessed podcast.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Hey idiots, welcome back to Ignorance is Blessed, the podcast that attempts to overcome ignorance mostly by asking ignorant questions. I'm your host, JMS, Jessica Michelle Singleton. That's me, I'm a comedian, and I'm a fucking idiot, and that's why we're here. If you are new to the podcast, please subscribe, rate, and review it on iTunes. It really helps. It helps other people find it, and then more of us can learn answers to all our ignorant questions, because everyone's a little bit ignorant sometimes, which is why I call everyone idiots, because I mean it in not a harmful way. But, you know, we all have moments of like, I didn't know that. What about this? And then you're like, wow, I learned something new, and that's why we're here. Thank you to everyone who is a new subscriber and reviewer of the podcast, which you can do on iTunes. I just said that. Thank you to everyone who came over from Stephanie Miller's show, or who has seen me on the road, or at the Comedy Store, or a plethora of other places. However you came to me, I'm glad you're here. Shout out to my best idiots forever, Dustin, Jean, and Kathy. And I don't know if you noticed a new best idiot forever in there. That's because we got a new patron. His name's Dustin Ward. He's awesome. And he subscribed to the best idiot forever level, which means he's getting all the cool shit. We just updated the Patreon, so head over to patreon.com/ignoranceisblessed. I don't know why I keep saying we when it's a one-man show. I'm saying it as if there's like a crew here. It's literally just me, which is why I started the Patreon, to help fund the production of this podcast. And you can subscribe for as little as $1. You get bonus content, and it helps me out, helps prevent me from ever taking on sponsors that are pieces of shit out of desperation for their money, which I won't do. And all the way up to the Best Idiots Forever level, where you can get seasonal subscription packages. I'm calling them They Meant Wellness packages, or I Meant Wellness. Basically, it's sort of a self-care box, a little like joke version of FabFitFun style stuff. So there's some, you know, good things in there for you, but I customize them to each person. You know, what are their favorite things, favorite colors, favorite teams, favorite shows, spice it up, favorite candies, whatever. And those go out once every season, spring, fall, winter, and whatever the other one is, summer, hot girl summer. So I will be releasing the fall boxes at the beginning of October. Very excited for those. It's Halloween month, so perhaps some Halloweenage will be included. But we also have a $10 level where I send a postcard from the road every month. So you get cool postcards from me all over the place. I put little silly sentences on the back, sometimes borderline offensive, sometimes just crazy, and a little cool thing from all over the globe. So thank you to all the patrons. I love you guys. If you want to see me live, I'm a lot of places this month. I will be in Peoria, Illinois this weekend, headlining at the Jukebox Comedy Club this Thursday, September 12th. Yes, September 12th, because it's the day after September 11th. Never forget. Through Saturday, September 14th. Come to that. I am in Madison, Wisconsin the week after, opening for the great Ari Shaffir, my father. And then after that, I'm coming to Canada. If you're in the Vancouver area and you're listening to this, I'm coming near you. I will be in New Westminster at Laugh Lines Comedy Club September Friday. It's a Friday and Saturday. It's either the 26th and 27th or 27th and 28th. But go to laughlines.com to find out. LAFFLINES.com. I'm all over LA when I'm in town, and you would see me on Twitch for the next 2 Tuesdays. There's 2 episodes left in this season of Slob Ross. I dress up as Bob Ross. I get shit-faced with a guest artist as we try to paint along and keep up with speed painter extraordinaire, everyone's favorite, Bob Ross, and interview them about their art. And so we've got 2 weeks left. Tonight is Andrea Guzetta, and tomorrow is not a Tuesday. So, and next week will be Amelia Rose, who's a tattoo artist. So that's a little bit different. And then every Wednesday, twitch.tv/DUMBWITS. You can see Twitch Makes a Movie. Head over to the Dumbwits Instagram to stay caught up on what's going on in Dumbwits, my new comedy content channel that I have going on with my friend and friend of the show and former guest, Buddy Hutton. Let's get to our episode. You guys, we're talking Mormonism this week. Book of Mormon. let's hear about it. Seth Lawrence, he's a comedian in LA. He's new into comedy, a couple years in. He's a Mormon, actively. And so I had him on and I asked a bunch of questions. Mostly covered all the like kind of stereotypes we know about the rules and polygamy and where it started. What the fuck is this Joseph Smith shit? Like, you seriously believe that? That whole kind of thing. And he was great. It was very informative. I feel like I could have asked more. So if you guys feel like other questions arise I don't cover, let me know. Best way to do that is to join the Facebook group, Ignorance is #BlessedIdiots, and post questions there or let me know. ignoranceisblessedpodcast@gmail.com. You can also send to that. A few people asked about magic underwear, and I'm going to say this now, which he may cover in the episode. I'm not sure if I interviewed him about it or if I asked him before we were on the air, and I'm in a rush and I want to put it out, so I'm not going to re-listen to the entire episode at this time. So I'm just going to go ahead and say we talked about... Did we talk about magic underwear? Oh my god. It was the most popular question. I don't think I asked about magic underwear. Oh, you guys, I'm going to follow up with him and share his response in a post either in the I'll do in the Facebook group. I'll do on the Patreon. Yeah. So if you want to know about magic underwear, I will be recovering it in the Patreon. Bum bum bum. And I apologize for that because I'm just now realizing I forgot to get to it. And it was a best idiot forever question. I'm very sorry, Gene. Don't kill me. I will get the answer and you'll hear it because you're a patron. Anyways, enough about that. Enough about me. Let's get to it. Seth Lawrence, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and or Mormon time. Hey idiots, welcome to Ignorance is Blessed. It's me, JMS. I'm here with Seth Lawrence.
Hello, how's
Hi.
everybody doing?
We just wait for an answer.
Yeah, right. Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So we're gonna get into it. Like, you guys, just so you know, if you sent questions, you already know. We're gonna be talking about Mormonism, Mormon things.
Yeah, sure.
But a little bit about you, I guess. You're a comedian in LA.
Yep.
How long have you been doing comedy?
About 2 years now.
Yeah?
Just under.
And you started here?
Yes.
Are you from here originally?
No, from
Utah.
Orem, Utah. Yeah.
Orem?
Orem. Yeah.
Wow, is that like a tiny Mormon town?
Not really tiny. It's an hour south of Salt Lake. So everybody knows where Salt Lake is. It's an hour south.
Okay.
So if you're familiar with Brigham Young University,
It's
Provo is the neighboring city to Orem.
Oh,
It's
and that's where the
basically
university
same,
is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So BYU's in Provo.
BYU. I
Yeah.
wanted to wait, but let's just...
Unfortunately named Cougar Town. I don't know if they understand the
Oh,
connotations
they don't.
of that or not.
Is that their mascot?
a cougar? Yeah.
That was my high school
mascot.
mascot, and I always think of that it's like...
Yeah.
Yeah, now...
It's very odd.
I guess maybe that wasn't always a thing. Was that like in the
I don't think
90s that
so.
became a term?
Yeah, I hope. But they changed the like Provo slogan thing to Cougar Town after the 90s.
Oh, wow. Very innocent, especially like groups that I, as an outsider, view as very kind religious people making things like that.
Yeah.
It's
terrible.
so funny to me.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, just like, I mean, I'm sure it's hacky Mormon material, but just like the idea of being like, I'm taking a missionary position is just like, is that the position you're taking?
Always. For 2 years.
I mean, did you? Let's get into that.
Yeah,
that was going to be lower and I was going to make that horrible joke, but...
We can get to it whenever you want. But
so where'd you go?
I was in Eastern Canada.
Eastern
so Montreal.
Canada. And I apologize. I'm like sweating.
You're good. Just stripping right in front. Yeah.
Do you speak any Canadian?
French.
Canadian is what I was just about to say.
Canadian,
Whoa. I knew
do.
what I meant.
I speak Canadian. I speak a little Mexican.
Do you speak French at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Did
do.
you before that, or did you learn as
I studied some in junior high and high school.
Okay. Did you do that? Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No, you're
I'm
fine.
just so excited. Did you do that with
Yeah.
the intent of going on a mission somewhere that was French speaking?
Hoping to, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it was there was a language requirement or a math requirement.
And you're like, I don't.
And I was like,
do
I don't
math.
want to do math.
Yeah.
You know, I
That's
will do what
fair.
I have to, but I'd rather do
I would
the
rather.
language thing.
I will learn 5 different languages to avoid taking a
Exactly.
trigonometry class
Exactly.
ever.
So I learned some French and then really learned it on my mission.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
What is a mission? Let's talk about that.
Sure. So mission is for men 2 years, and it's 1.5 years for women. The typical like normal mission. Those are the lengths of time.
Do you know why it's less for women? Is it like we need to get you out so you can go get pregnant?
Yeah, go
like,
have babies, get married. Yeah, it's also less of a requirement for women.
Yeah, I didn't even know women went on missions.
Yeah, there's a weird sort of Mormon culture thing where it's men are required to go but not required to go. It's
like
a weird
strongly
social issue.
encouraged.
Yeah,
Where
very
it's
strongly
like-
encouraged. And then in the heartland of Utah, if you're a like able-bodied young man and you don't go, people are like, what
What's wrong
sin
with
did you commit?
Really?
Yeah, it's really, why wouldn't you go? Do you not really believe in the gospel, or
Is it a thing where like if you are trying to not go, you're uncool to other Mormons? Like is a mission something people get excited about? They're like, oh, shit,
absolutely.
you're going on your mission, man.
Absolutely. You can find YouTube videos of people opening up their mission calls. I mean, when I went, there was none of that.
What
but
a bummer. It was just you alone.
Yeah,
like,
it was just me with my family, with my aunt on the phone, and opening the call and reading the letter. And yeah, it's a big deal. It's like it's like a coming of age sort of moment.
How old are you when you go?
I was 19.
Okay.
They've reduced the age by about 1 year for men. So now 18-year-olds can go. A
so
lot of
right
this
out
is
of high
because
school.
of, yep.
Okay.
So I did 1 year of college and then went, which was
Nice.
atypical. Most people.
Really? Most
Yeah.
people go right away.
Yeah.
What were you studying in college?
I studied English.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did an English, and then when I came back from my mission, I did a French-English double major because you can, at BYU, there are so many people that go on missions and then come back, and they're often foreign language speaking missions.
So they wanna,
they've sort of instituted a test that you can take to get out of a bunch of credit hour. Like you take the test and you get credit for doing all of these classes.
Oh, so it's kind of like, okay, you passed this quote language.
Yeah. So because I did that, I was able to also teach other undergraduates like 101 French.
Oh.
Entry-level French courses.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm just
Yeah.
using Duolingo flying blind.
Yeah. No, you're good. So, so it's a big part of the Mormon culture, these missions.
Wow.
And now that they've reduced the age for women, more women are going.
Dang.
Yeah, I think a large part of why they reduced the age was to make it more convenient for women, because women would serve at like 21.
Oh.
And so they
You've
were
already
already
established a life by then.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like,
most
let me
of
do
these-
my mission so
Yeah.
that I can do a mission
Yeah.
before I'm pregnant.
Yeah, and there are some unfortunate sort of situations where women are like, I'm not like dating anybody, so I'll just go on a mission.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you don't want it to be like
You
a
don't want it
last
to be
resort
like
or
a-
like a let me
like
put
a-
my life on hold kind of a thing.
Yeah, where
So-
it's like a consolation. Well, I guess I'm single. I'll just
Right.
you want to be excited
Right.
about the
I'll
mission.
go
but
meet some
I guess
younger
I'll
men.
just try to meet a man in
Yeah.
West Africa and convert
Right.
him.
Right, and then bring him back.
And then I did my duty. Are there like, I was just talking about this in general, not even with
Yeah.
like the Mormon religion specifically, but Christianity, just hearing people talk about going on missions. And it
Yeah.
never really drove into my head till my roommate and I started talking about it. But like just the term mission, that I went like, oh yeah, you're like on a mission.
Right. You have a goal.
What
in
is
mind.
the goal? Is there like a number?
Spread the gospel.
It's just spread the gospel.
No, there are no
You don't have
numbers
like a
you're given.
quota where it's like
Yeah.
if you don't convert
Yeah, you're not
80
coming
of these
back.
French people, you're not coming home. Where you're just like
Yeah.
trying to, okay.
No, thank goodness, because there's no way we would hit our quota if it were
Because you're just aiming too
less
high.
than
oh.
like 5.
Oh, is it that difficult?
Yeah, I mean, so I was out for 2 years, and what you do on a mission is, at least when I went, we would go door to door to
In
people
short sleeve
in
shirts with ties, white shirts with black
long
ties.
sleeve shirts.
Oh, long sleeve shirts.
That's a fashion choice.
I guess
and it's
I
not
saw a
that
lot of
hot
Mormons in
in
Florida.
Canada.
That's
Right.
unfair of an assumption.
Right. So
Okay.
in Florida, of course, they would
Yeah,
like
they're
hope
like-
for shorts.
They're in wife beaters with a clip-on tie, and they're
Yeah,
like, "Hi."
exactly.
Just like the most Florida Mormons you could ever find. You're like,
I don't want to be sweating any more than I have to be. No, we would, we'd go in long sleeve shirts, the typical, and then go door to door and talk to people with a nice little door pitch of 30 seconds. Pick what do we want to try to hit with these.
do you
people.
did you have like a blanket pitch where you're like, what do I get to keep? Is it just like, if you can get them in 30 seconds, they'll listen to you?
Yeah, it was basically like you become the worst salesman possible.
You're like, I'm
right?
trying to sell God to
Yeah,
people.
and you're like trying to use the spirit to be like, what would they want to hear? What could they possibly, So it's a crapshoot most of the time.
Was that hard at first? Like just getting
Oh,
doors
yeah.
like shut in your face?
Oh yeah.
Did
yeah,
you ever
yeah.
get yelled
Yeah.
at or anything?
No, not yelled at.
Yeah.
Well, so I got kicked out of one guy's house.
You made it all the way in.
Made it all the way in. We were teaching him. My companion and I. And we'd been teaching him he'd been visiting with other missionaries for months.
This guy was like kind of invested.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're like, we got one.
He was in it. So we were talking to him. Yeah. And he was going through the New Testament because he'd never read the entire Bible. And he was very philosophical. Was reading the New Testament. Was like, yeah, Jesus was a good guy, but I really don't think, that he was the Son of God. And so I said, well, how, he is though. And that's the whole point of the New Testament.
You're like, they wouldn't make a book about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what? And so he got upset that I was questioning his understanding of the New Testament and then kicked us out of his house.
Oh, wow.
It's like, I didn't want to be there anyway.
Yeah.
So
were you like, oops, all those months?
I mean, I felt a little bit badly. I had only been visiting with him for a couple weeks.
Okay.
But he wasn't like interested in the Book of Mormon. He wasn't interested in coming to church.
He was just lonely and wanted to talk about religion.
That's a lot of people.
Boys.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's a lot of people that we meet. Very lonely people.
Really?
Yeah.
So do you get people that like will let you go on and then they have no interest in the religion?
Oh yeah, or people that are like, hey, we need help moving, or we need help cleaning up. Or,
do you do that?
Yeah,
Is
we
that
would do
part
that a
of
lot.
it?
Yeah, because you're out there to try to do service.
Yeah.
With the ultimate goal of trying to talk to them about the gospel. But if you can help them,
yeah,
you're gonna help them.
And I guess that's like the Christian thing to do is like help your neighbor.
Should be. Yeah.
So why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
God,
so we do that.
Advantage of that.
But then it was like, yeah. But then there was a lot of like, don't get caught in this cycle where they're just using you and wasting your time because you're really out here to try to convert people.
Wow.
And you can be nice and help them, but
but
you need to move on.
Yeah, just be like, all right,
like a call
thank
center.
you.
Just hang up, get to the next one.
Get to the next call.
Yeah.
Was your companion? Are you paired with them for the whole time?
No, you switch around. So I had 10 or 11 companions over the 2 years.
It's not like a buddy cop.
No. I think they're afraid. Like, I don't know. You get too comfortable with some people, right? And so it depends. If you find like a motivated pair, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Then you're just out working really hard.
But if people are too friendly, they'll kind of like
it's like, well, let's just go. Yeah, like let's go bowling today. Forget about it.
Bowling. Is that what Mormons do to get wild?
I don't know. I enjoy it, but I don't think every Mormon enjoys it.
Are there Mormons who go on missions and then just go like completely off the deep end,
Absolutely.
like party, and
like while they're on their mission?
Yeah, like they just lose track of the Mormon faith.
I don't know. That didn't really happen in my mission. I guess there was one rumor of, and I mean, not a rumor. It actually happened, but I don't know how bad or how wild of a party it could have possibly been.
Oh, because it was like an all Mormon party.
Yeah, it's like a couple.
I heard they
missionaries.
had caffeine there.
Yeah, I mean, like the worst. No, caffeine is like not even a problem.
It's
right?
not?
No, lots of Mormons love Diet Coke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did Diet Coke
Mountain
invest in the
Dew.
Mormon religion? What's happening?
know.
When did the caffeine thing switch?
I don't know. Well, the caffeine thing was never, I don't think,
It's just a thing
an
I've
issue.
heard.
Yeah. I think that's a common misconception because a lot of people associate coffee and caffeine together.
You're not supposed to have coffee?
So you're not supposed to have
I'm hiding my coffee
Yeah,
as if
right.
it's like
it's gonna get
the
me.
devil.
It's a peanut allergy.
I read
yeah,
online.
coffee and tea is
Yeah. Okay,
right.
hot drinks.
Right.
Why?
Yep.
Do you know why that is? Or is it just...
So there was a revelation received by Joseph Smith, who was
the big
prophet
guy.
of the restoration. So we still believe in like Jesus being the man, right? He's
But
our
then
savior.
we got this other guy. We'll get to... I got
But
questions about Joseph
beautiful.
Smith.
So Joseph Smith was the guy who was responsible for restoring the church.
Yeah.
And he received revelations that he compiled into a book called the Doctrine and Covenants. He received like 90% of those revelations.
That's different than the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of the revelations has been called now the Word of Wisdom.
I was gonna...
And so that is where the hot drinks thing comes from.
And it's... But is there... Do you know
And then-
why hot drinks?
No.
No, it's just in there.
Yeah, it's just in there. It's a code of health, right? So similar to like the kosher laws of Judaism.
Yeah.
It's similar to that.
No hot drinks, no alcohol, no tobacco.
Yeah, no drugs unless
drugs.
prescribed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then is like the classic Christian don't have sex before marriage, is that in the Word of Wisdom, or is that
Not
just
in
like
the Word
a
of Wisdom.
thing?
That's just a law of chastity
Yeah,
commandment.
law of chastity.
Right.
How strictly do you stick to the Word of Wisdom?
Strictly.
Yeah? Have you ever...
Yeah. I've had coffee
ventured
once
out?
on accident.
Oh my!
Right?
What
Yeah.
did you
We call
spit
that
it
a
out? You're
freebie.
like, how dare you?
No, I was like, this is delicious. I was looking for hot chocolate.
So you can have hot chocolate.
Right.
So hot drinks.
Is not a temperature thing.
Oh.
Yeah. I think it was something about people being amped up. I don't know,
So
but
it's
that
like
would
hot
line up with
the caffeine.
So that's why the caffeine thing is the nebulous part.
Is there some maybe like fundamentalist groups that are still like?
Oh, there are for sure people within the mainstream Mormonism that are like, no, caffeine is for sure against the word of wisdom, and I think that's why it became this thing. So Mormons don't like caffeine.
So Mormons with drinking Diet Coke are like progressive Mormons.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like,
right?
yeah, we only have one black person in our church, but we love Diet Coke, and it's
ridiculous. Yeah, no, there's so many people, but my dad is one of those. It's like, well, we should look to what is the point. The point of the word of wisdom was to not let your body and mind be influenced by addiction. And since caffeine has been shown to be addictive, it's like, well, why would you then mess around with it, right? Like, just leave it alone.
True.
Even if it's sort of a harmless sort of...
As I just chug my coffee.
Even if it is sort of a harmless, right, addiction. There are not many people that go on caffeine binges and rob and kill for...
You haven't seen me after.
Well, you might get a little cranky.
Caffeine is the reason I've never tried harder drugs, to be honest.
Because it's like, no, this is...
It's like, I don't need to ever know what cocaine feels like, because I'm too much after. I mean,
right.
You'll see if we're not done before this kicks in. You'll be like, I'm scared.
What has happened? So I grew up with this idea of like Coke being bad. Right?
Okay. When did that change?
When I hit junior high, I was like, oh, this is...
Was it like a rebellious?
And my dad loosened up on it.
Or it was just
not...
kind of fell to the wayside? It wasn't like you were at lunch and a kid's like,
hey, you want this?
You want some of this Diet Coke?
No, I mean, I went to a friend's house and the mom was like, hey, this is not that big of a deal.
Was it a Mormon mom?
Yeah. A cougar, right?
Yeah, for real. She's like trying to tempt you with her sodas.
Unbelievable.
Just have a little sip.
Right. But my dad was never militant about it. He was just like, look, this is clearly the point of the word of wisdom.
So just, don't.
Yeah.
Don't go crazy.
Right. Keep your body and mind open to the influence of the Spirit, right? That's the whole point.
I like that. Okay. Yeah. Joseph Smith, let's talk about him. Because have you seen the Mormon episode? Do you watch South Park?
I have not, but I talked to so many people on my mission. I served in a lot of college towns.
And that's their first thing?
Oh my gosh.
Have you seen them?
They loved though. And Matt Stone, Trey Parker get a lot of it right.
I mean,
I'd say 98%.
And it's any religion, even if it's your own religion, you can not even, I don't want to say poke holes in it, but there are things that you can look at. I mean, I grew up Catholic, and it is like, okay, I'm sorry, wait, none of us ever were like, wait, we're eating Jesus's body? That's a little weird. Like, what is this symbolism?
Yeah, it starts out as the bread, though.
Yeah.
And then it becomes his body.
And like, body of Christ. And you're like, what? No, Jesus.
We're full of cannibals.
Just like,
yeah. Very odd. Coming from the Sermon on the Mount, actually. So very interesting.
Wow. I forget everything. I should re-interview a Catholic person just to touch base.
Yeah. Because Christ makes that analogy. He says, this is representative of my body. Right? Okay. So eat this like my flesh. He's much more direct about it, though.
That's so, eat this like my flesh. And
like,
people
this
are like,
is my flesh. This is my blood. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like
very.
I would not have done well I would have been like, okay, but it's not.
Yeah,
like I would have been the person that they're like,
right?
Shh, it's Jesus. I'm like, okay, no, this is bread. Like, this is not like, let me bite your butt, Jesus.
Right.
Let me in there. I'm just sexually harassing Jesus.
This is the part of you I want.
Let me like,
yeah, and we take the sacrament every week, which is similar to it's the same.
It's
as
the
communion.
same thing in church. Okay, so you guys have,
but we use water instead of wine. So
is it? But I heard that if you make your own wine, that's technically allowed. I read that on a wiki today.
Yeah. So back in the day, yes, it was allowed.
But then a couple priests just went to.
But then it was, bootlegging became an issue, right? So it was.
So you're like, well, I made it myself.
Yeah, prohibition. It was like, no, you can't. It's illegal to, make
it can't
and
be
distribute
a crime.
this alcohol. So. Plus, it was in Jesus' time, what we've been taught is that it was a health issue. That water was not as potable. So the wine was actually purer than the water. You wouldn't get as many issues drinking.
Oh, because the alcohol maybe kills the...
Yeah, would kill the whatever.
That's interesting. Also, never knew that word was pronounced potable.
Or potable?
I don't know. I always see it in writing, and I just went
ways.
potable, and I was like, potable makes more sense, actually.
I've heard both ways.
Let's get into Joseph Smith.
Please do. I keep distracting you from him.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's all right.
But yeah, he's an interesting character.
Before we get into this, let me ask you this. In the course of, you grew up, you like started as a Mormon.
Yep.
You were like born Mormon.
Yeah.
I'm born Mormon.
Yes.
I guess. I don't know. But has there been any point in your entire religious experience, your life,
that
you questioned your religion and was like, do I believe in this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. That was like a sanity test.
Yeah.
You never had any? You never were just like...
Because I've got some info that you should question.
I feel like you should...
be wondering about.
I think any rational person or like critical thinker should hit a point in their religious life. And that's where some people, leave religion or they invest even further, I think.
Right.
But you go, wait a second,
is this for real? Yeah.
So let me understand.
Yeah.
The Mormon religion didn't exist till Joseph Smith.
All right. So this is where I think there are two answers to this question.
Yeah.
One is the name Mormonism, never existed until after Joseph Smith.
Okay.
And that's because the book that he translated and found in the hill near his house that was written by ancient American people.
On gold plates.
And
no one else has ever seen these plates.
no one else has ever... Well, no, that's not true. There are other people that have seen the plates. So there was Joseph Smith, and then 3 witnesses that have documented seeing the actual plates.
Do you know the names of these witnesses?
With an angel. Ah, man. They are printed in the Book of Mormon and listed.
Okay. Was this around the same time?
But I can't remember their names off the top of my head. I think the 3 are like Martin Harris, Oliver Cowdery, and then I always forget the other one.
Martin Harris. He runs bringer shows at the Comedy Store.
Same guy.
What happened to that guy? Wow.
Still around, still kicking.
Are those guys... did Joseph Smith go, also these people have seen them? Like, did these people, like, in theory, like, he was like, a guy named Martin Harris?
Right. Oh, no, they were prominent members of the church.
Okay.
So there's a very interesting history with a lot of the initial members of the church. So there were 3 witnesses that saw the plates and were shown the plates by an angel.
Okay.
And they document seeing both the plates and the angel. Then there were 8 witnesses that were shown the plates by Joseph Smith himself. And a lot of them were family members and some other prominent members of the church.
Okay.
A lot of these initial people left the church. Like Martin Harris ended up leaving the church for a long time.
Whoa.
And then came back.
Oh, he came back.
Yeah. Later in his life, he came back.
Okay.
I mean, the documentation on these early is that they never denied seeing the gold plates. They just denied Joseph Smith's direction and some of the teachings
they didn't agree with some of it. Okay,
right.
So there was some so he translated the plates. Do we know what language the plates are in?
Reformed Egyptian, I think, is what if I remember right,
Reformed
is
Egyptian,
what it says in the actual plates themselves.
In plates that were scribed by ancient Americans.
Right.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
They're like, why are you writing in Egyptian?
Yeah. Well, because the initial
Pangea.
story of the Book of Mormon is there's a family in Jerusalem that leaves Jerusalem because they're threatened based on their religious beliefs.
Jews.
Yeah. Well, I often talk about Mormons as being Jew 2.0.
2.0.
Yeah. So this family, Lehi and his son's daughter's wife, they all leave, and then they and another small group.
Wait, really quick. His sons, his daughter, and his wife, or his sons and his daughter wife?
No, his wife.
Okay.
So the husband, wife, Lehi, Saraya are their names.
Is it a daughter wife? Okay.
Yeah, no,
All right.
no daughter wives yet.
Back on track.
No daughter wives yet. That
comes later.
Yeah.
All right.
And then, so they and a small group leave on a boat. They cross the ocean to the American continent.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that they took, the Bible basically with them, the Old Testament, the books of Moses. They brought all of that with them, at least a copy of it with them to the Americas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what was found.
The books that they wrote and their progeny wrote.
Okay.
Those are the gold plates.
So where did the plates go? Did he put them back? What is the story? Or what is the story of where the plates went?
So Joseph Smith is the story of Joseph Smith, at least him restoring the church, starts when he's about 14.
Okay.
There's other documentation about him, before then being basically a fraud and treasure hunter guy. which I'm sure you came across. Maybe there were some questions about that.
Well, yeah. Well, it's also just, it's so funny. Anyway, well,
Because he was
going.
taken to court for being
A con man.
Yeah, a con man. Right. And then those charges were dropped by the people that he was actually helping because they said, no, we hired him for this purpose.
Like, oh.
We thought there was treasure in our land, and he said he might be able to help us find it with these magic sticks, which apparently was a common-ish belief in
That magic
upstate New York,
sticks.
that there were these seer stones and these sticks that would help us find treasure. So there were a lot of other people that were doing this too.
Okay, so he wasn't just like a kooky.
Right. He wasn't a lone ranger in doing this.
Okay.
But anyhow, so he is reading the Bible when he's about 14. He's going to a bunch of different churches and comes across, this verse in James that says, if you're lacking wisdom, you need to ask God. Yeah, one of the books of the New Testament.
Oh, whoops.
So ask God, and he will tell you the answer is essentially what the scripture says. So Joseph says, okay, great. And he goes to a wooded area by his house, prays, and sees he has the first vision of Heavenly Father, Jesus Christ. And they ask him, what's your question? And he says,
like a genie.
I'm wanting to know which church to join. And this is when they tell him, no church. We actually want you to reestablish our church. So Mormonism as a name starts with Joseph Smith, but our religion, we believe, was around in the Old Testament times, right? It started with Adam. It's the same,
and it's sort of just like
same gospel.
Went away.
Yeah,
for
that
various
after
reasons.
Christ was crucified and all of his disciples were killed, that the priesthood was lost. So the Catholics believe it was, as far as I understand, it was handed down from Peter. We believe that it was lost from the earth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And was restored when Joseph Smith was given the priesthood by the resurrected Peter, James, and John.
So it was the three of them.
Right.
Wow, I don't think Catholicism even talks about James, but they leave out a lot of books in there.
Maybe so. I don't know.
There was apparently
it's in the King James version
I'm sure
of the Bible.
it is.
So.
Well, of course it is.
Yeah.
King James.
I don't think it's the same
just
guy.
him. And then James said, give me cake and money and just be happy being poor. You're fine.
Exactly. So we believe the gospel has been the same, but the church as an organization was restored with Joseph Smith.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the name Mormonism came along because of the Book of Mormon.
The Book of Mormon.
Mormon was one of the ancient American prophets that compiled the book from all the other prophets.
Oh, okay.
So he sort of made the gold plates.
But he came, you say ancient, but that was still long after the crucifixion?
Yeah. Yeah. So
So
this is like
is that what-
400 to 600 AD.
Is that
sort
what
of
is
we're
meant by
talking
like
about.
Latter-day Saints?
Yeah, so the Latter-day Saints came about when Joseph Smith asked what to call the church
Okay.
and received this revelation, said this, a church needs to be after my name if you follow me. The
Church of Jesus Christ.
Church of Jesus Christ. And then because we believe to be in the latter dispensations of the world, coming up on the second coming, any moment. Latter-day Saints. Yeah.
Latter-day Saints.
Yeah.
Oh, is that kind of the belief that it's like we're in the...
Oh, yeah. There were lots of... that's been the belief since the 1800s when, 1830...
So since the 1800s, they've been like any day now.
Yeah, when they reestablished church, there are lots of early saints that, that's what we call that's what
The
we call
leaders?
ourselves. We're
Oh, okay.
saints.
You're
We're
all
saints.
saints.
Yeah, we're all it.
saints.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to ask, are there modern day saints, but is it just what you
We're
call
just it. Yeah.
all the followers?
Right. We don't have patron saints or anything like
It's
that.
not like
We're just
Catholicism where
us.
they're like, oh, you're a saint? Why don't you do 3 miracles if you're a saint?
Yeah.
What are you going to do,
yeah.
huh?
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of like that because I always thought that was, I don't know.
It's kind of like superheroes. It's kind of cool.
I mean, yeah, it is kind of
You
cool.
know,
I always felt like the Catholicism had like a mafia feel, though.
Sure. Well, and they talk about Mormonism having a mafia too.
Yeah?
Because
there's like a...
Well, there was initial Mormon colonies in Las Vegas, and then the mafia hit Las Vegas. So there are some conspiracy theoretical ties, right?
Oh, that's
But I'm not
interesting.
very versed in the early Las
Conspiracies.
Vegas. Yeah.
The Las Vegas
The Las
Mormons.
Vegas colonies, right?
That would be a very interesting thing to hear about, though.
would be. That would be.
And then, so do you guys do confession like Catholicism? Like, did things go up through like...
Yeah, a little bit. We believe more in a personal connection with God.
Okay.
There are certain, transgression sins that you're recommended to try to
seek counsel over?
Yeah, seek counsel about, but not forgiveness from a bishop. So the leaders of our congregations are called bishops.
I was just going to ask. That's like the priest, the preacher, that
yeah,
type of
that's the
thing,
guy that
person who
leads.
it. Okay.
Right. But we have a pretty communal feel to our meetings because the people that speak every week are just normal members of the congregation that have been asked. Can anyone
speak? Okay, they get asked. Do you have to sign up or?
So 3 Sundays out of the month. Typically, there are 4 Sundays every month.
Yeah.
The first Sunday of the month is
what?
Yeah, right.
How do you guys do that? Like, I don't know how a calendar works.
Is fast and testimony meeting.
Oh.
So that's like the open mic, the Mormon open mic.
There's a Mormon open mic.
We fast for that day, right? The Saturday afternoon to the Sunday, or Saturday night to Sunday night.
Through the service.
Yeah.
Is Mormon open mic, now having done comedy, is there a similar feel of like there's people who come every week and you're like, you're not really... You're not really preaching anything here.
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
But the congregation we're in here is good. And the congregations are set up geographically. So there are boundaries. You don't shop around and like pick
where your
friends
that's
go.
Where you live.
Yeah, that's where you live. That's where you go.
So it's like a school, like growing up, like a public school.
And there are some exceptions depending on family circumstances. But
so
for the most part, where you live is where you go.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Where you live is where you go. Okay. Are there a lot of Mormon churches in LA?
There are quite a few. Yeah.
I always see the one near Century City. I think.
Okay.
I
sure. I go to one.
There's like a splayed hill with a giant gold statue. I just decided it was Mormon.
It's probably Temple.
Okay.
If there's a gold guy on top.
Is that different than a church?
Yeah, we do different things there than we do in the church. So church we go to every week.
Okay.
And then Temple you can go to. They're open most every day other than Sunday.
Okay.
And we perform different ordinances at the temples.
So
that's where all of them. That's where like baptisms for the dead are done in our temples.
Wait, baptisms for the dead. Is that when you get baptized?
Well, no. So
or is it like if you whoopsie daisy didn't forgot to get baptized and then you die?
Right, kind of. So what we do is when you're 8 years old, you go through a bishop's interview and you can be baptized if you want to be.
Okay,
right?
it's a choice. It's not like Catholicism where you come out and they're like drown you in a fountain and being like,
right.
You're in.
Yeah, there's a whole section in the Book of Mormon about child baptisms being abominable because children are pure. So why worry about it?
So why would you have to baptize them?
Yeah.
Wait till they're 8. They've lied. They've sinned. They stole some candy.
Yeah. It's like they know what they're doing at 8.
Yeah.
8 is sort of an arbitrary age.
It's just kind of what they picked.
Well, it was again a question that Joseph Smith had about early church sort of logistics and came back in a revelation that 8 that's the age of accountability.
Yeah,
so I don't know what child psychologists have to say on the subject. But
that's when you're an adult. So
that's when you're able to choose, right? Like you have enough information.
It's the age of consent in the Catholic Church.
You know what's right and wrong. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so interesting.
So baptisms for the dead are done for people after life, right? So we are baptized in proxy for dead people.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a scandal around us doing baptisms for Jews that were killed in the Holocaust.
So, like, you just baptize anyone? Or, like...
Yep.
And is it just a way of kind of honoring because I wonder about the ethics of that. Is that it's like, well, they're dead. They're not consenting to... Yeah.
Well, see, we believe that we're doing it and giving them a choice. So
you're going, this is open to you now that you're dead.
Should you choose to accept it? It's been done now. And
you're like... Yeah. Not putting a hex
You have
on
this
people.
now rite of passage. Right.
Okay.
Right. No slaughtering of cats and
Okay. Let's see.
And this is because of our beliefs in the afterlife.
What is let's talk about that. What's the heaven and hell for Mormonism?
Yeah. So I guess there are a couple different stages, right? So we believe after you die, depending on how you lived in life and if you were baptized or not, while in this life, you go to either paradise or prison, which are more just states of mind. You're either sort of peaceful or you're a little bit at unrest because there were certain rites of passage, ordinances that weren't done when you were alive.
Okay.
So that's why we do baptisms for the dead for people who are now in spirit prison, who are like, oh, but I want to accept the gospel.
Yeah, I want to be free.
And so we think there are certain things that need to be done with a body, one of those being baptism. And
do you guys do other things with bodies? Are you not allowed to say?
Yeah, no. So we do sealings, right? So this is what we call sealings. It goes along with marriage.
Oh, okay.
So we're married in our temples.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is partly why the Mormon church got very worked up about same-sex marriage.
Oh, because it goes against...
Well, it goes against our religious beliefs, homosexuals being, acting on homosexuality. That goes against our beliefs.
Oh, so the idea that like...
But go ahead. Yeah.
No,
finish
just
your question.
it's like you can definitely... I always think about this with the Christianity or like that type of belief. It's like, no, you can definitely like be like in your heart homosexual.
Yeah.
It's just the acting on it.
Yeah.
That's the sin
Yeah,
in a religion
exactly.
like that. So have you ever met a gay Mormon?
Oh, yeah. My cousin's, I don't know that he would consider himself a Mormon anymore.
I was
he's
like,
gay.
consider himself. I was like, which way are we going to go? Gay or Mormon?
Yeah. But he's gay, and then, and he grew up Mormon.
Yeah, okay.
But I've talked to other members of the church who are both active members and homosexual.
Okay.
But not necessarily active homosexuals, right? I don't know. I didn't get into it with them.
You didn't go like, so are you like putting...
Are you having sex with
wieners
guys
in
or
your
what's
butt
going
now,
on?
Or...
Yeah. Like, where are you on this?
Like, that's interesting.
But yeah, there was one guy I talked to in DC who was convinced that the church would eventually change its stance on homosexuality. I
wonder.
I don't agree with that, but
I mean...
it might,
no one ever thought the Pope would
people
say
think.
it's okay to use condoms. So,
sure. Right.
That's interesting. Yeah, because it's like I've always thought of like, I mean, I'm very progressive. I have, like I'm all for gay marriage, but I also understood that it's like, like in a church should be allowed to be like, like do your thing, but like not here.
Yeah.
Like it's like if it goes to me, I don't think like stores or whoever should like discriminating sales or whatever against gay people. That's a whole different thing. Not
Sure.
okay. But like,
sure.
Yeah, I'm always just like, we'll just go to a church. It's okay with it. Like, just that's just
why
not
do
the
you have
church.
to be at this one?
Like, why do you want to get married in
Yeah.
a place where, like, technically that feels...
Yeah. I guess I feel the same way about businesses, too, right? Like, let them lose the business if people don't like it.
Especially, like, when cake baker,
why
that
would
cake baker
the
is like...
Colorado case.
I'm like, you're a baker and you're...
Yeah, and you're
okay.
against homosexuality?
It's like, all right, male baker. I see what's going on.
Very interesting.
So, you guys do weddings? Or is it, like... big elaborate weddings, or is it like two people come? Is it like any other wedding?
I mean, it depends. It's not like any other wedding, right? It's not like because you have to be a member of the church to enter the temple. It's done in
pretty exclusive.
Yeah, right. So some are sort of big because the people know members of the church, and so they invite a lot of different people, But you have to be a member of the church to enter the temple, and not just any. Like you have to be a worthy member of the church, right? So
do you get like an identification card or something? Or like
yeah, you get a recommend, what we call a temple recommend.
Oh,
yeah, you have to go through a bishop interview and then what we call a stake president. So like the bishops report to a stake president.
Okay,
and,
is the head person of the Mormon religion called a president?
He's called the president of the church. Okay. Yeah, or the prophet.
Oh, the prophet.
The prophet. So we believe in living prophets.
Okay.
Yeah. So the current head of our church, President Nelson, has two counselors that we call the first presidency, and then there's a quorum of the 12 apostles.
Right.
They're all considered prophets.
Oh.
But like the prophet, in just common parlance, is the guy, the president.
The president.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of marriage, let's get into, I guess, like that aspect, because that's obviously a common thing.
Yeah, sure.
You have a wife.
Yep. Just
wife.
one.
Okay.
Yeah,
you probably get that a lot.
Yeah. That's fine.
Polygamy, is that even still?
No.
But there
Not
are
within
some
the
people who live
mainstream
in
of the church.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's like
Central Utah, there are some reformed, I think they call themselves fundamentalists, who still practice polygamy.
people who just want to have multiple wives.
I mean, I don't,
Those people living
I
like
guess.
the Clay
I don't
Hills or whatever.
understand.
I saw
Right.
it.
I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Well,
It
'cause
sounds awful
I
to
mean,
me.
Like
But
keeping up one relationship is so much work.
yeah,
That's the thing.
exactly. I mean, so to be honest, when I was 14, I was like, that sounds amazing.
You're like, so many chicks.
Right? That'd be
Yeah.
great. Yeah. 9 years of marriage, I'm like, no, one is enough.
Because you're trying to keep
Yeah.
multiple women happy.
Right. I currently do, or like testing, workshopping a joke about Joseph Smith because he was martyred when he was, late 30s, early 40s, killed by a mob in Nauvoo.
Whoa.
But he had 40 wives.
My God.
Yeah. He was at least married 40 times. And I'm like, that's euthanasia at some
Yeah,
point, right?
like-
It's just like, I need to get out. I asked for too much.
No, he's like, I'm going to run
And-
into this wild mob.
Yeah. I'm going to make some calls.
He's like,
I'm going to be in Nauvoo. Like, just
40 wives.
yeah, bring your muskets.
Did he have like a ton of children? Are you all?
He had quite a few.
theoretically-
He had quite a few children.
Has anybody like 23andMe'd themselves back to Joseph Smith?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of.
Do you guys
but I'm
keep
sure
pretty good
people
records
do.
of that, don't you?
Oh, yeah. We've been doing genealogy as a church for a long, long time.
Yeah, isn't there like a place you can go?
Yeah, FamilySearch, I think, .com is the big one that we do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's like owned by the church. I haven't really looked into that. But I think Mormons started it.
Okay.
But I don't know that it's officially like related.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I don't,
Yeah.
like a
that it's not
parent
like an official
company.
thing,
I
or
don't
just
think
like
the church
someone who
is a-
happened to be Mormon was like,
right,
let's get
did
going.
it. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the particulars of that. But yeah, family genealogy is pretty important to us, which ties in with the baptisms for the dead and all of that. Family
Okay.
is a big deal, right?
It seems like it.
And that's why sealings were a big deal. And that's a large part, as far as I understand it, why polygamy was a big deal. Because the early understanding was, and the case is, in our afterlife, to get to the highest level of heaven,
Yeah.
where we believe you're like God, right?
There's
like
levels.
Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother,
And you.
making spirit children with your eternal companion. To get there, you have to be married and sealed in a temple.
Oh.
And so, yeah, so the idea, as far as I understand, a large part of why polygamy started, sort of two big reasons. One was to populate the earth with Latter-day Saints.
Yeah.
And the other was to help women and men make sure that they were covered so that when they died, they'd had these things performed and would be eligible
like make sure there was
for
someone to do it.
that level of heaven. Yeah.
Wait, so
Yeah.
your eternal companion, is that
Yeah.
necessarily the person you're married to?
I think it's as long as you both are righteous and good to each other. Yeah. Yes.
So you can't escape your wife.
Right. No, we are locked in
You're like,
forever.
"Oh, this
she
is
can't escape
heaven."
me. That's
Yeah.
more accurate, right? She's stuck.
You did this to yourself.
Yeah,
How long have
exactly.
you guys been
So we've
married?
been married for 9 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have?
3 so far.
3 so far.
Yeah.
Is there a number? Is there a goal?
I don't know. We'll see how we feel.
How many
Kids are
siblings do you
tough.
have?
I have 4 siblings.
Okay.
2 sisters and then 2 brothers, and the brothers were adopted.
Adopted.
Yeah.
What is it? What's with all the kids in Mormon religion? All my friends growing up who were
Yep.
Mormon, so many siblings,
Yeah.
usually had like at least 1 or 2 adopted.
Oh, sure.
What is that?
I
It's
think
just
it's family,
a
right?
family
Family's just
value?
important. Yeah.
Okay.
Not many Mormons have farms anymore, so it's not like you're making labor. It's
just
it's
building.
just part. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just sort of wired into us.
Yeah, it's
that
not a thing
family's
that's
important.
taught. It's just sort of like you
I mean,
grew up in a big family, so you want a big family.
Right. I mean, I think there's for sure an aspect of it being taught, as in families are important.
Yeah.
Our whole goal is
Of
to be
course.
married and and to try to have kids. There are obviously couples and individuals that never get married, and so that's a tough aspect of Mormon culture, I think, that could be improved. Right.
Okay, because it's such a big
Such a big
thing.
deal.
It's like if you're not married,
Yeah. And I mean, there's just so many things built, there are family things and just a lot of church activities and stuff that can be and feel exclusionary if you're single.
If you're single.
And old. That's
Yeah.
tough.
What's old, like 23?
Yeah,
In the Mormon.
right. Well, I was
Is it
married
a thing
at
where people
24.
try to go really quick, like get married?
Absolutely. Because you're so horny, right? I mean, because
Oh, because you don't
practice
have,
abstinence.
So nobody has sex before marriage.
Not
Let's
the
talk
good
about
ones.
this.
Not the good ones.
Is it true?
There are for sure friends of mine,
Is it true that people have butt sex as a way to?
That is, yeah. I mean, it's
you
been
heard
passed around. I've heard of that happening.
Have you
Yeah.
heard of it?
I have not talked to
Not
anyone
naming any names.
individually.
I was gonna say, have you heard of any
Yeah.
friends doing that?
No, I have not talked to anyone individually
How
that
long?
has admitted to it.
Yeah,
But
because they're like, that's a sin. I'm not gonna tell you.
right.
Taking that to my
But
butt
yeah,
to
I
the
mean, there are a
grave.
couple little scandals around Brigham Young University in particular because it's college, and so
Yeah.
everybody's like, can't we have a normal experience?
You're like, yeah, just not sex. And
Yeah,
you're like,
so there were a lot of underground poker games involved because gambling's also like
poker.
a
I
no-no.
hardly know it.
Yeah. and then the butt sex, avoiding losing virginity and all of that being
Have you heard about
scandals. Docking? What is docking?
Someone wanted to ask if this is a real thing.
Oh, I don't know.
And so I looked it up.
Yeah,
Because
what
I
is
thought
this?
docking there's another thing
I
called
thought
docking
that's what
where
boats did.
this is not what I'm about to ask you, but there's a sexual thing called docking where two men, an uncircumcised man, will put his penis next to another one and connect them with the extra
What?
skin. That's not what the question is.
Never heard of that.
I looked it up, and so there's a thing where allegedly in the Mormon faith, it's not considered having sex Docking is when a guy inserts himself into a woman and then
pulls out.
Well, no,
or
it just sits
stays
there.
there.
Which is so creepy to me.
That is creepy.
But like,
that's way more intimate.
yeah, no,
I
and it's
think,
like, what are you
than-
just looking at
Like
someone?
you just cuddle there then forever?
It sounds like a nightmare.
I don't know of any like Mormon guy or any guy practicing abstinence who would then do that without achieving orgasm.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Like, there's
especially
no
because you've
way.
never had sex, you'd just be like, oh.
Yeah, immediately, right? I would think immediately.
Yeah.
I've never heard of people doing that. I don't know. I mean, people are weird, so I'm sure.
So someone's probably
I'm sure
tried it.
someone's done it,
I'm
and been like,
sure.
"No, it was fine."
I'm like, it was fine.
Yeah,
And
nothing
it's like,
happened.
my penis wasn't even hard, and it's like, oh, okay. I see
So
what's
you're
going
a
on.
homosexual.
Yeah, it's
That's-
like, oh, of course
that's
you
how
didn't
you find
come.
out.
Yeah, that's how you learn. Is you dock,
you
and then
go.
you're like, this is not where my boat belongs.
You have a whole other problem in
Yeah,
Mormonism.
this is-
It's fine.
like you need to find different C's, and those C's are butts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard of that happening, but
How long were you with your wife before you got married?
we dated almost a year before we got married.
Do you think the horniness sort of like speeds up the like? Let's
Absolutely.
Just get to it.
I think there are a couple factors. One is the horniness, for sure, just the physiological need. The other is that because we believe so strongly in finding an eternal companion and it being a spiritual process, that there's some level of it being like, no, it's right. And like, so it's okay, right?
Yeah.
Like God will help us, fill in
Suss
whatever
it out.
gaps or like,
Yeah.
work together. We'll make him part of our relationship and
Yeah,
it'll be
okay.
fine, So I think there is some comfort in, we have help though. We have help.
God's on our side.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, I don't know. I've made the analogy of normal people who date for like 8 years. Years are months for Mormons.
Okay,
Right?
that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're like we just get to it.
You just go. Yeah. It's like if
get
it's
the ball
fine, it's
rolling.
good. We'll figure
This
out the
feels
other
good.
things. Our communication will come later.
Yeah, we'll learn how
Physical
to get
first.
along. Yeah,
Physical first.
Let's
And
get married so I
then-
can put my wiener somewhere.
Right.
and then we'll learn how to.
And then we'll
adjust.
talk to
Yeah.
each other. It'll be
No
fine.
talking till marriage.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there's some weird people that are like, I don't kiss until we're about to get married.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
because
what
like
is
why
the-
tempt it? I was not one of those
No.
people.
So
Yeah.
was it for you guys?
And they were not my friends. I did not like those people.
So the group you ran with, your type of like abstinence was just not sex
Yeah.
Just-
and no touching of genitalia.
of the genitalia. Okay,
Right.
but like making out.
Breasts
over the
included,
pants stuff.
right? yeah.
A lot of heavy.
Yeah. I mean,
rubbing.
admittedly, right, there you get in circumstances where it's like maybe this was pushing the boundary.
Oh yeah, you're like,
But-
oh no, I came in my pants.
So
I had
for
a
sure,
revelation. I have to go home.
I need to leave. I need to leave right now, and I have to crawl.
So on your wedding night,
Yeah.
you're just like, are you like, as a man, are you
Finally,
like, yeah?
yeah, so exciting.
And then is
right?
it like super awkward? You're like, oh my God, we're going to have sex.
Not that awkward.
No, okay.
No, because I mean, at least my wife and I, we talked about it before.
Yeah.
It's there's this weird thing. I guess in Mormon culture, it's a little bit odd because it's like, no, it's shut down, and then suddenly go.
Yeah.
And so there are lots of issues with a lot of Mormon. My mom's a marriage and family therapist. She deals a
wow.
lot with Mormons, and has related some experiences. Obviously, no names, no specifics.
Yeah.
But of very troubled sexual lives, where it's
Wow.
like you need to at least talk to your fiance about some of these things.
Yeah.
And figure out, what you guys might be comfortable with and never want to do, and be open to change after you're married and have been having sex for a while to kind of figure it out. But
Yeah. Keep the line of
definitely
communication
talk
open.
about it.
That's
And
smart.
it's different from actually doing it. So just,
Know that.
have the boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is watching porn a sin
Yeah.
in the Mormon? Okay.
Yeah.
So there was no,
Yeah.
for me, porn was like a reference. I was
Oh,
like,
sure.
interesting.
Sure.
I learned a lot before I ever
And I
saw.
mean, just because it's a sin doesn't mean people don't do it.
Yeah,
Of
okay.
course people do it, right?
I won't ask
But,
you. I'm not going to bust you out.
I love getting into conversation. Who's a better person, the atheist or the religious person? It's like we're all just messing up all the time,
Oh,
right? We're all just
constantly.
trying to be good. So
Yeah, it's like also the version you meet of everyone is not who they are when they're like alone or even just in their car.
in the dark corners of their
Yeah,
mind.
it's like we've all done things that you're like, well, I wouldn't want anyone to know. It's not really a sin, but I wouldn't want to share that with anyone.
right. Right. Which is what makes open mics in the comedy world so fascinating to me.
Because
there's so much.
Their...
Yeah. Well, and coming from a religious background, there's so much that's sheltered, and it's like you would never admit this unless it were to a religious individual, like a bishop trying to help you through it, or a psychologist or whatever.
Venturing out into comedy, was that sort of like? Because did you go to like a Mormon college?
Yeah, so I went to Brigham Young University.
Who is Brigham Young?
Brigham Young was the second prophet.
Okay.
So after Joseph Smith was killed, Brigham Young...
By Brigham Young.
and like 40 other people. All of his wives.
Yeah, like, I can't stand you.
Yeah, he was the first counselor in the presidency, so he stepped up.
Okay.
But the way it works in succession for Mormonism is the council, the quorum of the 12 apostles,
they appoint
meet together and they vote on someone to take the place.
Okay, no one can campaign for it. It's not like presidency?
Right, no.
Okay, or at least not outwardly.
Yeah,
you don't know if
I'm sure there's some sort of lobbying
people are passing around gold plates, perhaps.
little nuggets.
Little for your family.
Here's a freebie coupon. Whatever sin you want to commit, I'll excuse. Yeah, I don't know how much of that really goes on, but...
Okay, interesting.
So Brigham Young was the second prophet. He was the one that sort of our Moses. He brought the saints from, New York area, New England area, Missouri, to Utah.
To the
and inhabited Salt
fertile
Lake.
grounds of Utah.
Yeah. Yep. So we were in Utah with Brigham Young.
Okay.
That's where it all began for the Utah being Mormon thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? Oh, are you easily offended?
No.
Were you ever? Is that like, are Mormons offended?
I mean, I think all religious people can be easily offended. But there are other people that also can be. I don't know.
Like as far
I think
as
for
curse
Mormonism,
words
it depends, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's never been an issue for me.
Okay.
Definitely, I had friends that were like, I'm not going to go see a PG-13 movie because there's too much swearing.
Wow.
It's like, you're a weird person. And that's, it's like, fine, whatever you need to do to just not lose it with people, great.
Okay.
But I've never been one to be easily offended.
Okay.
But I've known people who are
Yeah.
easily offended, for sure.
Do you do like comedy shows for Mormon audiences?
So I've started a clean comedy show. I was doing bringer shows at the Comedy Store for a while.
Brigham shows.
Yeah, Brigham. So
Brigham. Anyway,
oh yeah,
sorry.
Brigham. I got you. I got you.
And then I realized I was like,
misheard.
that's not his.
I just misheard.
No, I said it wrong, and I was like, that's not his name. It's not a good joke. It was never a good joke.
So Brigham shows at the Comedy Store, and some of the feedback, like people liked going.
Yeah.
But they were the Mormons that were maybe more progressive that really liked going, and others were like, "This was a bit."
I was a little jarred
much.
by some of this.
Like I tried to warn you that this would be,
Yeah, I'm a Comedy Store comic, and I'm like, yeah, I understand why they would.
So I started a clean show, cleanish, right, like
Yeah.
late night TV friendly,
Okay.
so that so that my people would be a bit more comfortable to go.
Okay.
To
so you sort of did that
shows.
as here's a comedy show for people.
Yeah, and my thought was, if I'm going to be bringing people, I may as well
start your own thing.
Yeah, I might as well just bring them to my show where they're going to be comfortable, and where if they're not, they can complain to me about it, as opposed to me just being like, well, tough, sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, it's like, that's the world.
This is
out
the
there.
world we live in.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Because like if I'm going to bring friends to a comedy show, I want it to be a good experience for them, not like a thing where they're like, that was horrifying.
Right. Or they're like, hey, we enjoyed your 6 minutes, but
And
the
like,
rest of
boy,
it was really rough.
Really
It's
wish
like,
Brian
okay.
Regan had been here. Is that why he's so popular? Because of Mormons?
I don't know if I think he's funny. Maybe
I mean, he
he's
is
not.
very funny.
But he is
Mormons
very
love
popular among Mormons.
Okay.
Yeah, they love him. They love him. Of course they do. Him, Jerry Seinfeld.
Anyone clean?
Yeah, Ryan Hamilton is actually LDS, is actually Mormon.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
From Idaho, but he's very, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have outed him.
You
It's like,
sucker.
I don't know.
How's your family feel about you doing comedy? Were they?
So I'm the oldest in my family. I was a lawyer actually before doing this.
Wow.
Yeah, I practiced in.
You guys are like Jews.
Yeah, mergers acquisitions for like a year and a half,
fun.
and then my wife finished her degree and was like, "I'm gonna make 3 times as much as you will." And
You're like,
we're
well, I'll
gonna
just
go
be an
to-
artist then.
And we're gonna go to Los Angeles. So this was perfect. So big. My parents. I think they've come to to be fine with it. I don't think they were thrilled initially.
They're like, oh. great.
Yeah, fantastic. To be honest, I think they were more concerned about me becoming a stay-at-home dad than they were about me becoming a comic.
Oh,
So I think
okay.
now they're like, well, at least you have something
at least you have a thing
that you're doing.
You're not just in charge of the children, because
Right.
that's so scary.
That's so lame. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't want to like.
We're running short on time.
Oh no, I'm fine. Let me see. I don't know what
No,
you're
you're
like on
good.
time.
You're good.
Is there a lot of sexism in the Mormon religion?
Like misogyny?
Misogyny, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about that, because I think
It's
of like
tough.
I think
Right.
of the polygamy, and then I noticed it like with the quorum and like leaders. It's like it seems to be mostly men.
All men. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of that has to do, I mean, I think 100% has to do with our views on the priesthood being
Okay.
a calling for men. Like,
Okay.
Men receive the priesthood. There's been some loosening up on this in terms of how we talk about who holds the priesthood,
Okay.
and that couples hold the I don't know. This is
Yeah.
where we're getting a little bit nebulous, but
Yeah.
traditionally men are given the priesthood, and women don't have that. They
You
have-
don't get to do
you don't
that.
get it, right?
You have
So
ovaries.
all of the leaders of the church, like the congregations, the church itself, all men.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mostly white men? I heard there's
Mostly,
like some.
mostly white men. There's one Jewish, or not Jewish. There's one German. One German member of the, of the prophets, like Quorum of the 12 First Presidency.
Is he not white?
I mean, he's Caucasian.
Oh.
But he's just not American.
He's just not American white.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's a little bit different. But yeah, we're branching out now. I think there's been as far as that's like the tippity top.
That's like, yeah, that's
right?
I mean, there's just
And
so
I
few
think-
people up there either way.
Yeah, I think there was one recently Hispanic named member, but I'm
Okay.
not sure.
right.
And then, but we also have sort of lower levels that are still considered general authorities, which are
Yeah.
like general leadership, and they're from all over the world.
Okay. Are there any
Yeah.
black leaders?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I hope now that I'm saying
You're
yes.
like, you're like,
I'm not positive.
There
but
should.
I'm-
Why wouldn't there
There
be?
should be. I don't know.
Historically,
But
this is-
that's been a tough, the misogyny thing is tough because women don't hold the priesthood. So there's been a lot of movement about getting women to hold the priesthood. And so
Okay.
there's been some sort of explanations from upper levels of the church saying, well, women officiate in the priesthood. Like when you go to the temple and perform ordinances, a lot of them are done women with women, men with men.
Okay.
And all of that is done under the direction of the priesthood. But then it's sort of like we're nitpicking.
But then they're like, but
'Cause
we're
it's
not gonna
like-
let them make the big.
Yeah, but like no
decisions.
bishop is a woman, right? And
I
so
wonder, do you think that'll ever change?
I don't know if it will. I don't know.
Is there a huge movement for it? Like, I don't know, because I go like, that sucks. But then I'm like, well, are women in the Mormon religion trying to make that happen?
There's some. I think there's a lot of women that are like, well, we would just want to be equal. And it's like, okay. And then there's some that are like, do we really need to be doing more? We're already doing so much sort of behind the scenes
I've
stuff.
already blown out my vagina giving birth to so many
Just
children.
like why? Yeah. So I don't know if it will change. I have no idea.
Interesting.
And then the blacks and the priesthood is also another thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
That was a whole issue.
yeah.
yeah.
Well, like historically, like way back, like black people weren't allowed in the same services, or like I'm talking like back in like slave
Sure.
when they were converting.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they ever had separate services for black members of the church. I
No.
think they were always allowed with, it was always a mixed congregation.
Okay.
If they were members of the church. But there were some issues with them receiving the priesthood.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
And do you think
And
that's
that
just like
ended in like,
goes into like deep
surprisingly late.
American, just like the standard,
I think I don't
everything in America is racist, and hopefully like this is also changing.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it was that there were a lot of sort of incorrect, I think, explanations that
Yeah.
were delivered. Like they're descendants of Cain and all these really
God.
terrible things.
Things, yeah,
It's like that's
to try to
the
justify.
church has recently published essays recently, like last 5 years.
Okay.
Some essays explaining or like saying, this was just a mistake.
yeah.
I guess there were some apologists that said, oh no, this was more for like citizenship issues, the Utah needing to be a state, and like where the saints were. There were some, in the 1800s, it was
Interesting.
like there was a lot of,
Stuff going on, little chaos.
with slavery, and people in like Missouri in particular were worried that slaves would be taken away or that they would convert to the church and then be empowered and like
So they were trying to
revolt.
walk the line of like the church not upsetting anyone.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
I
But I don't know.
Yeah, I have a friend who is
I'm
mixed.
glad it changed.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
She said her grandmother later in life, a black woman, joined the Mormon church and just
Yeah.
loved them. And her whole church, loved her, and they really took care of her later in life.
Yeah.
And, she said, she's like, I think that I had this thought with the caffeine. She said that she was like, I think that the Mormon church loosened up on black people because they want more money.
Oh, interesting.
What do you think about that? Just like we want more people in here.
Sure. I don't know.
How do you feel about someone saying that?
I guess my thought is maybe,
Yeah.
but I doubt it.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the Mormon church is wealthy enough.
Yeah. So they're it's just getting over times of dumb, like ignorant thinking and like moving
Yeah,
forward,
I think
you
there's some ignorant thinking. I think, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that it was a financial decision.
Like that they were like, we better let other people
Tough
in because we're
times.
going. Is it like
don't
Scientology
know.
in that like you have to invest money to like move up? Is that a
No,
thing?
not at all.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I mean we do tithing, right? So
Yeah.
10% of your income
Is like what you should
is
be
what you
giving.
give to the Lord, right?
Okay.
But yeah,
Do they
but it's
know
not a
your
hierarchy
income?
that way.
Like, are they like,
They're not like getting your tax information. Is that what you mean?
I
It's
don't know.
self-reported. So
Okay.
if you whatever you tell them, the way.
But you go, we make about this much, so we're going to give you
Well, the
this
way
much.
that the interview goes with tithing, so you do go in and you're asked, have you paid a full tithe? And that's
Wow.
it. That's it. So
Is that
you say
annual? Do they
yes
ask
or
you
no.
that all the
Mhm.
time?
Yeah, every year. Every year,
Interesting.
right around Christmas time.
Oh.
Go in.
Don't
has this
forget
been
to
a
give money to
full-
God.
Yeah.
It's been a whole year.
I mean, I think it's
You're
end
probably
of
in
year
the spirit of
stuff,
giving.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
And the church is audited, like any other corporation is audited.
Of course.
So,
Although,
yeah.
is it a corporation? It's considered a nonprofit, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I just remember I think my mom got like sort of, I don't want to say banned from a church, but like, although maybe because she was like still drinking back then. But after my dad left, we switched to churches. And I remember her telling me that like the church sort of had some coarse words, not a Mormon church,
interesting,
to say
yeah.
about like how her donations had gone like, significantly down. It's like,
Interesting. Well, no, not much judgment, and the tithing is not publicized, right?
Okay, so there's no like.
It's a very private. Yeah.
Not really. It's a moral thing.
It's not like they're in a huge house, so they're clearly not giving enough.
Yeah.
There's none of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's some backbiting that goes on.
There isn't
right?
like you can't go to the highest level of heaven.
Yeah, no,
because
no,
you
no.
haven't
Right.
given
I
us.
mean, if you're not paying a full tithing, we believe God knows.
Yeah.
Whether or not you're
That's between you and
telling
God.
your bishop or stake president or not.
Okay.
Stake
president.
And that's the guy that's in charge of the bishops.
And that's STAKE.
STAKE.
Not like a
Not
delicious
the right,
steak.
the Mortons.
Do you guys eat meat?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
A lot of it? Is there anything about meat?
I think I mean, the word of wisdom, the thing is to eat meat sparingly.
Yeah,
But
and give
the
thanks
weird
for
thing
it.
about the word of wisdom is not all of it is enforced right now.
Okay.
So like there's a whole thing about diet, exercise, and
Really?
anyhow, yeah. So
Interesting.
coffee, tea, drug, all the negative things, it's like you definitely can't do those.
But these
All these positive things are more, suggestions on a healthy life.
Okay.
So yeah, I think Mormons eat meat for sure, typically.
Mm-hmm.
And some eat way more than they should.
Yeah, I do too.
So-
Red meat especially.
So
Oof.
good. So good.
Oh God, I want a steak president.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Mitt Romney? How'd you feel about when he was running? Do you get
I
asked
was-
that a lot?
I
I'm
don't
from
get asked that a
Alaska,
lot.
so I got
Sure.
a lot of when Sarah Palin.
Oh,
People were
gosh.
like, "Oh,"
I would feel badly about that.
and
Yeah.
they judged who I am based
Of
on.
course.
So
I don't know.
Mitt Romney like strap a dog to his roof?
Yeah, there was something about that. I think the dog was in a kennel,
Well,
They
yeah.
didn't have. I guess my thing is it's an animal,
Oh
Like,
no!
Can PETA calm down a little bit?
I don't know. See, I'm like on the roof. Just put it in your car.
There was no room. There was no room.
Get it? Okay. That's so.
I don't know. Yeah, it's too bad. They should have had one less kid if they wanted the dog. I
mean,
guess.
yeah, you
and
make
the
a
same
choice.
size vehicle.
I think so.
I don't know. I think he's a good person.
Yeah.
And I was
Has
excited
good
when he was
intentions.
running.
Was it cool to see like a Mormon at that level?
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
I was sad that he was demonized a bit heavily by the media, and I think you know
the
what,
media
you
will
get
do
it.
to anyone.
This is what you get. Now you got Trump, so you should have just taken Mitt Romney.
I mean, I think we did okay. I think that other better things could have been done in the 2016 election on the other party's side. I don't
Maybe
know.
so.
Oh no, I guess like on the Republican side.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah, like, yeah. I mean,
But no, I think Mitt Romney's a fine person.
yeah, he's just a guy doing. I have a
Yeah.
thing. I think anyone running for president is a little bit of a psychopath.
Oh, of course they are.
Where
Total egomaniac. Like most comedians, right?
Of course,
We're
that
crazy
it's like-
people.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
you're like, no, I need to speak.
Yeah, everyone needs to know what I think.
Yeah, it's like I have to share my wisdom.
Yeah.
With these people paying a 2-item
Yeah.
minimum.
No, you have right. Right, exactly.
Is there anything just as like a blanket, like takeaway, if you could offer as like about Mormonism that you wish you would like to let people know? Maybe either covering like a stereotype or
Yeah.
just
Oh,
where
man.
you're coming from as a Mormon.
I don't know. I think I guess the thing I would say is we try to love everybody.
Okay.
Good members of the church really try to love everybody.
Every Mormon I've met has been the nicest person.
Oh, good.
But they're
Good.
so
There are
nice.
definitely some that are not, but
Everyone's like so nice that I've always been like, did they go
Is this
home?
Stepford
And they're
Wives?
like,
What's going on? I'm going to kill
they're just
everyone.
like, have a nice day. And they're like, I can't take it anymore. But
yeah.
so you just try to love everyone.
Yeah.
Does that
I mean,
get
that's the
stressful at
real
times?
Christian thing to do. Of
Are there
course.
times where you're like,
I'm not saying I'm good at it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
do you have any like mantras or tools or things you try to like bring to the forefront of your mind in times where maybe loving someone feels challenging?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we're all God's children, right?
Okay.
Like we are all from the same creator.
Yeah.
Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother. They all love us, and we just need to try to love each other.
I like that.
But
I like that.
some people are scary and not nice.
No,
Not
I
nice
mean, it's
people.
hard. In this day and age, people are reacting from like a place of fear or their own assumptions
Right.
or judgments. Or
Right.
It is hard. It's very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I think that's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, where
I
can
don't
people
know.
find you?
So you can find me. Instagram is probably where I keep most updated
Okay, perfect.
information, and that's at the only Seth Lawrence.
Perfect.
Lawrence LAWRENCE, and then on Twitter, ST Lawrence 7,
ST, like St. Lawrence?
like St. Lawrence.
St. Lawrence 7.
Seth Todd. My middle name's
That's
Todd.
so funny.
it's not-
Okay, I was wondering.
It's
I was
not
like,
an
is that
assumed
initials?
thing.
Yeah. My email through college and still now, I just took the little. It's JM Single because my last name's Singleton.
Oh, right.
But the amount of people go like, oh, because like you're,
You're still single?
and it's like, well, no, and also no. Like, why would I do that? Who would be like JM married? Like, what-
Always available.
You're
That's
just
you.
still here, still waiting. All right. Well, thank you for doing
fantastic.
this.
Thank you so much for having me on. This was such a great honor. Really appreciate it.
I'm excited. I'll put this out soon, and
Okay.
I'll tag you in it. And
Yeah, that'd be great.
yeah. Thanks for answering all my questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Bye, idiots. Thank you. That was great.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. And I love the podcast. It's so good.
Well, there you go. All Things Mormon with Seth Lawrence. I hope I answered some of your questions. I feel like, I was on a time limit, so there was just more I could have dug into. I said that before, but if you thought so too, I was happy with the questions we got, the questions I asked, but I don't know if maybe I could have done more digging. Join the Facebook group. Ignorance is #BlessedIdiots, and let me know in there. If you like the podcast and you haven't yet, please subscribe, rate, and review it on iTunes. Share it with your friends. Everyone's a little bit ignorant sometimes. Big thank you to Dustin, John, Jean, Kathy, and Terry, exclusive members of the League of Extraordinary Idiots on Patreon. You keep these idiots, I'm the idiots. You keep the episodes flowing, courtesy of this idiot talking to you, and keep me sane with all of our chats and fun banter on Twitter and Instagram. I love you guys. You're great. I'm very thankful for you. If anyone wants to join the League of Extraordinary Idiots and get exclusive tickets to shows and other cool prizes, gifts, you get cool postcards from me on the road, and even more content, you can join at that level, join at another level, and it helps support the podcast. And let me tell you, as someone who makes a living on their art and is not currently a household name, I'm doing okay. I'm doing fine, but it is, a very frugal life I live, and it's scary because you never know what if there's a month I just don't get booked, yada, yada, yada. And this really helps alleviate some of that anxiety, that worry, that stress. So I cannot thank you guys enough. Just thank you for listening and subscribing. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad you enjoy this bullshit I'm putting out in the world. Hopefully not all bullshit, but, you know, some of it. Anyways, if you want to help support that, get some cool extra stuff, patreon.com/ignoranceisblessed. Follow @Blessed Podcast on Twitter to stay up on all that's happening over here. And please keep in mind that no guest is or claims to be a representative for every person who has a similar identity. They're just one person sharing their own experience and ideas to help us get a peek at how things look from their situated position in the world. If you have additional questions about any guest and have a topic you'd like to hear covered and or someone specific to interview that you'd like that would be good for that topic, tweet them at me. Please make sure if you're suggesting someone, you tell me what the topic is, because there have been people who are like, you should interview this person, and then I'm sure they're great, but it's topic based, so I need to know. I've thought about doing just like lifestyle interviews, maybe as bonus content or as special episodes, but you know, if it's something specific, I need to know, and that's where I'm trying to keep things, because boy, have I had people go, put me on your podcast, and then they give me garbage episodes because they have nothing specific, and it just doesn't fit the format of the show. Not that they're a bad person, not that they're not funny and entertaining. I just like to keep with the topic, so thank you to those of you who do that. I am working on doing more of your requests, and I'm always open to more, and I am trying to organize my time so that I'm getting these out a little more regularly for you guys. If you go subscribe to the Patreon, though, at a certain point, if we make enough money, I have to put them out every week. So hint, hint. I'm not withholding them, though. I'm just have too much on my plate because I don't know how to say no to things, and I am overly enthusiastic about what I'm actually capable of finishing and doing all at one time. But I love you guys, and this is my absolute favorite thing. So here we are. Yeah. What else? You can follow @Blessed Podcast on Twitter or Ignorance is Blessed Podcast on Instagram. I'm a little behind on photos because I was waiting on people to send me their own headshots, but I had to take it upon myself to get those from the internet, so they will suffer the wrath of me using Google to find the picture to use for them. And I will be catching up on those. Trying to figure out something maybe I could do that keeps with the theme of the show as Instagram content, maybe like agree to disagree type of thing, where I talk about something going on in the news or like a celebrity that did something in here, you know, it's fine, but I feel differently or whatever. I'm not sure, but trying to do more content over there. Anyway, please keep in mind that no guest is or claims to be a representative for every person who has a similar identity. They're just one person sharing their own experience and ideas to help us get a peek at how things look from their situated position in the world. Did I already say that? I don't know. You guys, I'm out of my mind. If I already said that, I am so sorry. Anyway, keep asking questions. The more we ask, the more we learn, the more we know. And the more we know, the more we can look down on others who aren't as smart as we are. And isn't that the point? No, the point is loving everyone. But thank you for listening. And thank you for being patient with my ignorance. See you soon, idiots.